So here we are standing in front of the Golden Gate Bridge here, San Francisco, California. And this bridge is a tremendous accomplishment of human ingenuity and engineering. Though a whole 11 individuals actually died just to build this bridge. And in terms of the cost, bridge was built in about 4 years for the equivalent of around $780 million today. So imagine building something like this in only 4 years for less than $1 billion. It's pretty tremendous. Despite the beauty of the site, we're here, cloudy, foggy day, and there's still quite a bit of a crowd here. People gathered to look at the bridge, mostly presumably tourists of some kind. And despite that, the poor weather, it's still pretty magnificent to see here in person. I mean, the video itself and the photos that I took don't even really do it justice. And yet, around 30 people a year on average kill themselves on this bridge, sadly enough. And if you think about what that means, it means that people are coming here to this tremendous, beautiful feat of human ingenuity and engineering, and using it to do one of the worst things you could possibly do, which is ending their own lives. And as unfortunate as sad as it is, I think it points to something very important that we should remember when we're thinking about our own lives and our own missions and our own, position within the world. Everyone here is out doing something, trying to make a name for themselves. But the topic of this video is really just that you got to put your own oxygen mask on first. But what I mean by that is like, that in the airplane instructions, you're always told that if the plane's going down or if there's an emergency and there's a need for oxygen, you're supposed to administer your own mask before you go help someone else, whether that's a child or an elderly person or whatever. And this goes against our sort of natural, good, altruistic instincts, which is to help other people first and to make sure that especially the most vulnerable people are helped out. But it turns out that you can't actually get a functioning society that way. And so the best way that you can help people is by what was termed by Tocqueville as self-interest properly understood, right? Which is, I understand that it's in my best interest to improve myself, to make myself as good as possible, to be self-interested in such a way that it has pro-social effects or pro-social ramifications. The result of this is that by gathering resources and improving myself, by making myself better, I'm actually making the world better. And this is something that gets lost a lot today in our sort of current political dialogue and political discussions. Everything's all presented in such a way that you're on a mission, you're committed to some moral cause, or helping somebody else out, and that's what makes you a good person. But I would say rather, what makes you a good person is by being a strong person. The stronger you are, the more well-equipped you are to handle the tumults of life, the ups, the downs, things, all kinds of chaotic stuff that life is going to throw at you. The more equipped you are to actually not only do something impactful in the world, but also help others. And so if you're in a place where you don't have quite everything together, whether that's in terms of resources, money, control over your time, control over your creative expression, the ability for you to go out and make things happen in the world for yourself, then you really should be reflecting back and narrowing your horizon to improving your own situation, getting yourself off the ground, getting yourself into a position where you're strong and secure and stable, and then deciding to venture out and express yourself further in the world. And what that kind of looks like is imagining a life situation you'd like to have for yourself, and then figuring out a way to reverse engineer that kind of life situation. Because really, once you're in a state where all your main core needs are taken care of, and you're not stressed out all the time, and you're not running on empty, and you're not in this scarcity mindset, then you'll have the ability to go out and actually make an impact on people. And more so than that, unless you're like a total complete sociopath, then it's going to come naturally to you to want to start giving back, to want to be more generous, to want to expand beyond yourself and make the world not just about your own satisfaction of desires, your needs, and self-aggrandizement. That will come naturally to you. And you'll be in a good position to actually know how to execute on that, because you have achieved competency in one or various fields that will give you the ability to actually make an impact in what we're doing, instead of just writing a check, writing it off, and hoping that it works out, or hoping that these other people that we're getting this to do something. We were talking about this in a conversation with some friends late last night about how there's this loss of noblesse or prestige in the elite culture in America, but in particular in San Francisco today, where you have this group of people that are tremendously wealthy that have benefited tremendously from the economic gains of technology over the last 30 years. And despite that, um, they seem not to have much of a say in terms of the governance of their own city, in terms of the opportunities they're presenting to the general public. And overall, there's no sense of stewardship or obligation for the wealth that they've created. And this is partially, uh, a maturity thing. They haven't sort of reached that evolved stage where they're ready to start contributing and thinking about giving back. But also, it's a lack of engagement. It's a lack of attention. It's sort of this idea that like, oh, if you want to solve the homeless problem or the drug problem, or we want to help, you know, eradicate hunger in the third world or whatever, then we're just going to throw money at the problem. But really, what needs to happen is you need to actually have engagement. You need to have real attachment to the problem and a real interest in it. And then you want to take your core competencies that you had to develop in order to achieve something in the world, and then apply those to that problem. This is something that you can do, and you can eventually make quite a big impact on the world and also just your local environment if you are willing to take on that responsibility. But the thing is that it does come with responsibility. It's not simply that you make your gains and then sit around doing nothing all day, eating bonbons and just becoming a degenerate. I mean, people do choose that lifestyle, but that lifestyle is a trap. It takes you over. There's a kind of demonic energy that you feel in people's eyes. And you can see it on them when they go down that path, and their life becomes very empty. And even people that would otherwise have everything that they want can sometimes end up getting into drug addictions or committing suicide because their life is really meaningless. And the meaninglessness of their lives is not due to failure or personal inadequacy, lack of success, lack of opportunities, lack of comforts, but actually because they have not committed themselves to actually taking that abundance that they've come into and spreading it out into the world. And so I just want to sort of leave you with something to think about here today about filling up your own cup and making sure that you put on your oxygen mask first, so that when it's time for you to go out and change the world, you're actually in a good position to do so. You're actually in a strong, empowered position. And you're not doing so from a place of ignorance or from a place of lack of ability. You've actually proven yourself. You've actually gone out and done something. You have skills. You have things that you can genuinely give back, not just resources, but also resources. And that's really where you got to start. So this is Alex Burshak. We're Hacking State. The idea with Hacking State is always that there's a fractal order of politics, right? When we think about political technology, it starts at the individual level. That is the kernel, that is the seed. And then it spreads out into tribal level, group level, governmental, and then eventually transnational and eventually even interplanetary governance. But it starts at the individual, and you got to make yourself strong first. So make sure you put on your oxygen mask.